guys, it's me, Brownline12. Today we have another Engines of Norfolk and Western. This episode is featuring the ALCO RS3, so let's get into it. The ALCO RS3 is a 1,600 horsepower, 1.2 megawatts B-B diesel-electric locomotive manufactured from May 1950 to August 1956 by the American Locomotive Company, ALCO, and its subsidiary Montreal Locomotive Works, MLW. A total of 1,418 were produced, 1,265 for American railroads, 98 for Canadian railroads, 48 for Brazilian railroads, and 7 for Mexican railroads. The successor to the RS1 and RS2, the RS3 was built with a single 12-cylinder ALCO Model 244 engine. The RS3 greatly resembled the design and appearance of its predecessor, but had 100 more horsepower, 1,600 horsepower, and some changes to the fuel system and body shape. Some had their engines replaced with more reliable EMD 567B engines, becoming RS3Ms. Much like the RS1, many RS3s served for decades. Some are still in use as of 2022. RSC3 and RS3 they use 3-axle trucks instead of 2-axle trucks. The middle axle on each truck was unpowered. This variant was designed for service on light track, as the extra axles better spread the weight of the locomotive. ALCO built the RS3 to compete with EMD, Fairbanks Morse, and Baldwin Locomotive Works. In 1949, EMD introduced the EMD GP7. In 1950, Fairbanks Morse introduced the 1,600 horsepower, 1.2 megawatts H-16-44. Also in 1950, Baldwin introduced the 1,600 horsepower, 1.2 megawatts Baldwin AS-16. In the case of ALCO, Fairbanks Morse, and Baldwin, each company increased the power of an existing locomotive from 1,500 to 1,600 horsepower, 1.1 to 1.2 megawatts, and added more improvements to create new locomotive lines. All of this was to be more competitive with EMD. ALCO's 1,500 horsepower 1.1 line was the RS2, although 31 were built in 1950 with 1,600 horsepower 1.2 megawatts. Fairbanks Morse's 1,500 horsepower 1.1 megawatt line was the H-15-44. Baldwin's 1,500 horsepower 1.1 megawatt line was the Baldwin DRS4-4-1500. EMD, however, kept competing GP7 at 1,500 horsepower 1.1 megawatts, but in 1954, EMD introduced the GP9. It was rated at 1,750 horsepower, 1.30 megawatts. In the end, EMD won the road switcher production race. EMD produced 2,729 GP7s. ALCO produced 377 RS2s and 1,418 RS3s. Fairbanks Morse produced 30 H-15-44s and 296 H-16-44s. Baldwin produced 32 DRS-4-4-15s and 127 AS-16s. In 1952, the Brazilian railway, the Estrada de Ferro Central do Brasil, purchased 46 new RS3s from the Montreal Locomotive Works. Some are still active as work trains for CPTM, Supervia, and CBTU-BH, respectively Sao Paulo's, Rio de Janeiro's, and Belo Horizonte's commuter railways. In Brazil, these units were nicknamed Canadians, or Hot Tails. In 1964, the Spanish railway, the Ferrocarril de Rango, purchased 4 RS3s from the Terminal Railroad Association of St. Louis. A fifth unit, number 1604, was purchased in 1971 from the Burlington Northern Railroad, BN, a piece of surplus Great Northern Railway stock from the 1970 merger that formed BN. The locomotives served until 1984, when the line was converted to 1,000 millimeters, 3/8 inches meter gauge. Thanks for watching. Also, make sure to subscribe so you never miss out on any of my new videos. And as you can see, I'm starting a new schedule where I do Norfolk and Western videos every Saturday, and I'm going to be doing one regular video in between every Wednesday. The reason for this is because, well, I was planning what video I could make for after my road trip. And school is starting next week, so yeah. Anyways, next Norfolk and Western episode will be the LC1 and the LC2. Anyways, bye-bye.